Hello, everybody. This is Magnetic Leadership Mentor Jeeva Sam with another teaching on what makes someone magnetic. Well, as you know, in our series, our prime example of a magnetic leader has been Jesus. And this teaching is no exception as we pick out another way in which he displayed that magnetic leadership. And this comes from an invitation that Jesus gets to go and spend some time at the home of a man named Matthew. And Matthew was a tax collector, which even today people don't like tax collectors. But in those days, they hated them because basically what he was allowed to do was to get a tax franchise for a certain region for which he paid a certain amount of money, and then he could collect as much as he wanted from the people who were in that region and pocket the rest and just pay the franchise fee, so to speak, to the Roman government. So he was also collecting for the enemy. So the Jewish people, of course, did not like tax collectors. But you see, when Jesus went there, we're told that he was in the company of people who were labeled sinners in his day. Some of them were tax collectors like Matthew. Some of them were prostitutes. Some of them were people who were very openly identified with what would be called a sinful lifestyle, whether it was addictions or the other categories are not described, but you get the picture. This was not the kind of crowd that most self-respecting, religiously proper people, would hang around. As a matter of fact, there were even Jewish laws that forbade, rabbis and people of that position to hang around with this riffraff. But you see, Jesus did not hesitate to hang around them, even though that was not his primary circle, where he spent most of his time. On the other hand, we also find this remarkable thing about Jesus. He would be invited to the home of the Pharisees, who were the upper crust of society, and the leaders at the other end of the religious spectrum who carefully observed everything that the law demanded of them, and everyone would call them righteous, the exact opposite of sinful. But they also wanted Jesus to be in their homes so they can get into some debates with them. Of course, they would find fault with him, but Jesus accepted those invitations as well. And see, this is a hallmark of a magnetic leader, that you do not limit yourself to the one circle in which you feel the most comfortable, that you make yourself available to people at both ends of the spectrum, at both the top and the bottom strata of society, or wherever those opportunities. No, there's no discrimination that in Jesus. As a matter of fact, the tax collectors, sinful people, so-called, loved Jesus because they felt accepted. Even though he did not approve of their lifestyle, they still felt that he did not poo-poo them. He did not somehow dismiss them just because of their behavior, just because of their reputation that they had in society, which was not very good. And so keep that in mind, friends, that as you keep going along this journey and become more and more magnetic in your leadership, take advantage of opportunities to mingle with people, no matter what their status is in society. And of course, you're not going to spend all your time, in either extremes. You are going to be giving to those people who are in your circle, who in some ways share the same DNA with you, spiritually, emotionally, and maybe even intellectually. But at the same time, don't just stay there because then you are not truly the kind of magnetic leader that Jesus was and that you and I can really be. All right, so I encourage you to put this into use in your daily life. This is Magnetic Leadership Mentor Jeeva Sam. Again, to remind you that, hey, if you were blessed by what you heard today, would you just like this teaching, share it with others, embed it on your website? I give you total permission to do that. All right, God bless. We'll talk to you again soon.